Hello, everyone. Simon Thomas, CEO of Dobie Real Estate. We have John DeWaskin, who's a business coach, and Randy Denha, attorney. So we've been doing these shows now for these podcasts for, I don't know, how long has it been, guys?
A couple months.
3 months, 2 months. Yeah. And every week we have different topics, different things we're talking about. And I really look forward to them because every time I do them, I learn something new from each one of you guys. And the point of doing them is obviously to get in front of more people and cross promote these different trainings that we're all going to be doing, and we're all specializing in different things. And I'll kind of, before we get into a topic, John, you want to talk about? Let's go with Randy first. Randy, you want to talk about what you guys are promoting and what you guys are launching?
Sure. Thanks, Simon. John and I we started podcasting right at the beginning of the pandemic.
It was literally the first week. Yeah.
I mean, it was sort of our pivotal moment. And I know we've spoken about pivot and mindset, but remember back in March of last year, I remember taking my kids to the Utah Jazz game, and that was the last event we went to for literally a year. Because at that moment, the pandemic started, and then John and I stuck at home.
Yeah.
Let's start podcasting. And I've never had any experience in podcasting. And now fast forward, it's almost a year and a half later, we're still doing it. And like Simon said, we're having fun. We're always learning something. And as part of that experience, John and I and Simon and John and a host of other people, we're all chatting and trying to figure out, well, what can we do in addition to what we've already been doing, but now really start leaning into our experience. And what came to mind for John and I was, lending my experience as a estate planning and business lawyer, having, been a partner at a large firm, and then, forming my own law firm about almost 12 years ago here in downtown Birmingham. And we, came up with the name Elevate You. And Elevate You is, basically a podcast that's going to be centered around helping lawyers, young and old, associate to partner, to really, hone in on their skills, find out how they can increase revenue, how they can reduce expenses, how they can attain more talent, how they can get the right clients, and everything in between.
Yeah.
It's going to focus on the employees, to running QuickBooks, to dealing with IT that nobody understands, and everything that it takes to run a law office, administer your everyday, deal with the marketing, deal with all of the things that come to you as a business owner. So hopefully Elevate You really elevates you, and that's our hope.
That's great. Especially, there's a lot, like my industry is like this. It sounds like, I know law is like this. There's so many different avenues, so many different ways to generate revenue as an attorney, so many different ways to generate revenue or niches in real estate and law. And something like this, I think when I hear about it, it's extremely helpful in how to grow your business and take your business to the next level. And maybe you're working too hard on some things, right? So whenever I've done trainings in the past, I've always learned, like, everyone thinks you need to work harder and harder and bigger and bigger. And sometimes you need to simplify. And, trainings like that, after the many years you've been doing this, how long have you been doing this? 50, 60 years? How old are you, Randy? How long have you been doing this?
Yeah, so I'm Benjamin Buttons.
50, 60 years. How old are you? 70?
How old are you?
That's what we call the collective experience.
I'm going by your hairline. How old are you?
Listen, they told me, Simon, years ago, I used to ask some of the senior partners, how come I can't capture that particular client? They said, number one, you got to go bald or you got to get more gray. Now I have both. So I'm 50 years old. But, again, many years of experience in watching many people, make mistakes. And that's the beauty of our business. Having dealt with the thousands and thousands of people we have over the years, you learn from others.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
So I try to tell my kids, you don't win or lose. You win or you learn. And remember that. You win.
That's a good one.
So
it's true. Now, John, you're kind of like the glue. You're the one that brought us all together. You're the one that put a lot of this, you're a business coach. I've met you a couple years ago and it's been nothing but great things.
Thanks,
I kind of call you the Beyonce of this group. I mean, you are the one that are involved in each group. And I think every time I sit with you, I learn something new, and you have a different perspective, completely different perspective than what I ever have. And so I've always enjoyed our relationship.
Thanks,
and tell us a little bit about your piece in each one of these, segments.
The initial coaching group that I launched in December, I launched the coaching group because I grew up and my dad was a dentist, and he never turned a patient away. So if a patient could only afford $10 a month or $20 a month, he would put them on 5-year plans. And I never wanted to be only a business coach that was high end. I believe that I want to be also accessible to everyone. And so the way I looked at my business was I have my website with updated content for free. I had my one-on-one and my keynotes that are the majority of my business. But I wanted to open up this door to cater to people who didn't have that had a limited amount that they could invest in themselves. And so I started this coaching group in December, and I loved it. And from that, organically, the conversations with you, Simon, Randy, Jeff Sloan, and Rob Dubay just literally sparked. Randy talked about, we decided to do our group Elevate. Well, that was because we were hosting a podcast, which was our podcast was kind of every Wednesday at noon called Mindset. The guests didn't show up. And so Randy and I and we're both so busy, but we had this half an hour where we could just brainstorm. And so we just started talking about how we could create that. And then you and I organically started talking about, wait, now there's this market for residential people. And then I was talking to Jeff Sloan, and the same thing happened. And so they all organically kind of happen. What I love is I think that there are power in numbers. And when it comes to niche markets, being able to collaborate with a specialist in a field and me kind of come in as this kind of like, generalist in a way, kind of looking at, because to me, all businesses are the same. I work with solopreneurs to Fortune 100 companies and everything in between. And I don't niche in a market because to me, all the problems within a business are kind of the same. It's how you handle them. And I can kind of get into the crevices of all of those and customize ideas. But I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a residential realtor. I'm not a meditation guru, although I meditate. And so collaboration to me was not only great for me to learn, because I agree, Simon, I always learn from other people in our time together. But I thought it would be the fastest and best way for everybody else to learn as we could come together. And I thought it would be more fun. I thought it would help accelerate everybody's growth. And it just kind of happened. Everything organically happened. So to me, everything was kind of in alignment. And I think that's a kind of the through line through it. Nothing was forced, right? We didn't try to make things work. We didn't try to fit things in a box. We just kind of worked. And partnerships, that's how partnerships should be. And then we all kind of collectively decided, let's do this group podcast, and everyone was in. And so I think, if anybody's out there trying to build a business of any type, collaboration is critical. And being with the right partners and the universe will kind of like tell you if it's a good thing or a bad thing. And so far, it's been a really good thing.
Yeah, it has been a good thing. And I'm a big believer that everything happens for a reason. And if it doesn't go your way, there's a reason, and you'll find that out later as long as you just keep going. And I remember, again, going back to the first time I met you, John, like we were at an event, a networking event, and I didn't want to go. I was like, I'm not going. And I was kind of like forced to go, and I met you, and then something came of it, and everything happens for a reason. And
I spoke at that event.
You spoke at that event. And it was really cool to see. But, a couple things, guys. I mean, today I kind of wanted to just freelance. Whatever came to our minds, let's talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Now, I was going to go in a direction of now that we're COVID's releasing, and but I'm kind of sick of talking about COVID, but we can get into that in a minute, and what the world, what business is like now that people are getting back at it. But we just laughed, we just had fun, we just made jokes, and I remember watching my dad with business. That generation, they're very serious businessmen, and that's a good thing, right? You need to be serious, you need to master your craft. But I'm in sales, and Randy, you're running your own business, and John, you're out, getting clients and supporting people. How important is it? Is it unprofessional? I mean, I think there's a fine line. I think there's an art behind it, but how important is it to have fun, with your career and what you're doing every day? Like, do you find that people are more drawn to you? And because Randy, every time I talk to you, we laugh, we have a good time. Like, you're that type of person. John, we laugh, we have a good time.
Yeah.
I can't stress enough, you can feel when people are tense, and sometimes humor helps with business. How do you guys feel about this? When I bring this up, it's popped up right when we started laughing at each other. But
it's huge.
Randy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you took me back when you said, again, Simon, I know your background, Jonathan, I know yours, and my parents were Middle Eastern, and I grew up in the grocery store business. Having fond memories of going to Eastern Market as a kid with my father, at 4 a.m, picking out the day's produce, watching all the farmers' kids run around, and then going to the business and, opening up the store, and then watching my father, as an immigrant, negotiate, purchases, deal with profit margin, how to price products, and then dealing with the customers and the customer experience. And one thing that I always remember is when you get to know your customer or your product user, you can then truly be your authentic self.
Yeah.
But, quite honestly, coming off as, you can always be a great person, right? And you can have that sort of way about you that draws people in. But I think as part of any sale initially, you're always a bit guarded because you don't know who your end user is and who your audience is. But, I always interject now, fast forward, because I've learned this craft from my father and then through my experiences at Big Law. Have fun with it. Be you, because that's always going to draw people in. Now, there's always a fine line too, because you can't cross over. And one thing I believe in is I have many, many relationships. I have many, many acquaintances. But one thing my late father told me is, son, you're lucky if you can count the number of close friends on more than one hand, right? So the same thing with clients. I don't believe in getting too close to the client. I just don't. This may hurt me on the podcast, but I'm close to them. They know I'm always there for them. And that's why I've been successful over my 25-year career. But I never cross the line. But throughout the day, I'm always happy. I love coming to work. And quite honestly, I'm good at it. I can't dunk a basketball, but I'm good at what I do. So I have fun with it. And I don't consider it work.
Yeah.
And that's important. And you know what? I say it all the time to, people, and it's hard because you're right. It could hurt you in this podcast, but it's business, and these are your people. You'll take care of them, and these are your clients, and anything they need, you're there for them, and you'll service them, and you'll look out for their best interest. But there is that fine line, and I say it all the time. Like, you see it a lot with people when it comes to like happy hours and meeting out, and like they cross that line of it's business. It's a business. It's fun time, and it's happy hour. But at the end of the day, it's business, and you can't really cross that that threshold onto the other side. And there is only a handful of people, if you are that you may be able to do that with. But that definitely takes time, and it's interesting because some people don't understand it when you say that. But I do think that you hit it right on the head. John, what about you?
So I grew up just to kind of, my dad was a very, he really was not a funny person, but all of his patients, he was a dentist. If I meet any of them still today, if I met and someone would say, "Oh, your dad, blah, blah," he was the funniest man I ever met. Well, but in my family, he was not funny, so I grew up in a Jewish family where there was always 10 people, 15 people around the dinner table. Everyone was interrupting each other. Everyone was, laughing, this and the other. And so I always think when you talk about that, I think about my dad because he was kind of a serious guy, but knew the art of humor when people came to the dentist, right? He kind of knew when to be serious when people were scared. But I think humor is important. I just think you got to listen to your gut. When something's about to come out of your mouth that is inappropriate, that's going to rub not only the client the wrong way, you got to be really careful. And I think the biggest thing to be careful about with humor is, I train a lot of managers, and I think one of the biggest thing is you never want to make fun of somebody in a group, because if you throw shame into the equation, and if you're that type of person that's putting in daggers, it will never be talked about, but it will always be remembered. I remember years ago, I'm 49. I was in my early 30s. I took a communications class, and you sat in a circle, and there was about 30 of us. And one person, this woman on one side of the circle, told a joke, and I laughed. I was the only one that laughed. I thought it was hilarious. And so the communications person, the instructor, stopped the class and said, "I want everyone in the room to go around and talk about what they thought of the person who told the joke, and then John Dwoskin, who laughed at the joke." So I'm thinking at the time, I mean, these people have no sense of humor. What is going on here? All I did was laugh at a joke. Now I'm the class. Now I'm on the blackboard. So it was really interesting. It was a very eye-opening event for me because it shifted my perspective and raised my awareness in a major way, because everyone was going around the room and saying, "I'm scared of John. John makes me nervous now. Is he going to laugh at me?" And I thought, what? The first half of the circle, I was so angry about it. But then I realized what had happened. We have to realize how much control and how much power, how much power and influence we have in a group of people. And it's like Lord of the Rings. When you have power and you don't even realize it, you can really hurt people. Not with I had no intention of doing that. But so I think we always, as leaders, have to make sure that we understand our place, our level of influence, our level of power, because one word can go a long way and really hurt somebody. That being said, I love to laugh, and when I find the pockets, right, I love laughing with the two of you guys. I take them, but I'm also conscious, and I have this kind of this thing where I try to be kind of almost ahead of real time to make sure I don't walk away having hurt anybody's feelings.
But John, to that point, I'm sorry to jump in, Simon.
You're fine.
It reminds me of early in my career in 1997, 98. My then
you are 70. You are 70.
Yeah. So he says to me, "Listen, in 97, I want to sign you up for Dale Carnegie." I said, "Dale Carnegie? For what?" Because I wanted to learn how to publicly speak and be comfortable. So one exercise, and it was great, by the way, but one exercise they had us do was to get on all fours and bark like a dog. I'll never forget it.
I'll never forget it now.
When it came to me, I wouldn't get on all fours. I'm like, and my bark was kind of like a woof woof.
Yeah.
And everyone starts laughing. But the point of that was, number one, to get you out of your comfort zone. But using your example, John, where you were the only person in that communications class to laugh out loud.
Yeah.
That is authentic you.
Yeah.
How often in many settings that we're all, find ourselves in, are people not truly being themselves?
Yeah.
And then you're forced to guess, well, how do they really think? What are their thoughts of me? So I guess maybe kind of let's talk about how do you bring that level of comfort to them without intimidating them and making them at least open up to you?
For me, I spend time, anytime I do something, before I meet with a client, before I do a workshop, before I do a keynote, I kind of meditate and take quiet time and usually get there early so I can pick up on the energy of the room, right? And so, so most clients don't realize that, why I come early or why I'm walking around and getting coffee and talking to people. But what I'm doing there is figuring out where the frequency is of the people that are actually in the room. And so then a lot of times I'll try to kind of get everybody speaking a little bit, shake people's hands, fist pump them, etc. That's how I do it. So I try to kind of then get very connected and understand kind of where I am and what I can do and where I can go and who my audience is. Yeah. Simon, how about you?
Yeah, I think, for me, when I first got into this, like I'm a big believer in, before real estate, I was not a confident person. I failed at a couple different things. And I was the guy that when I would go out with my girlfriend, now wife at the time, like I hated, I was in between careers and I didn't know what I wanted. And I was a little bit older. It was 2008 when things were falling apart and I graduated from college and I thought, I was failing, and I was the guy that, like, don't ask me what I do. Don't ask me what I do. And I'd get nervous and you could tell in my voice, or I'd get quiet and the real me wouldn't come out. And for me, that all shifted. Like now people see me and they're like, how do you public speak? Like, and I don't write anything down. Like I just get up there and like, you just did it to me, John. Like, hey, you're hosting today, so go, right? like to me, like it's a confidence thing because it took time. And I think anything you do, like I'm a golfer, I can relate it to this. Like when you master your craft and you become really good at it, you just become confident. But that's a mixture of, and everyone's at a different level. Like it depends on what you need to be confident, right? Like for me, I wanted to know I was in an industry that I loved. Once I was in the industry that I loved, I wanted to become the best at it. Once I started making money, it gave me confidence. I was really good at this. And then you could never say anything to me within my space that would stump me. Even if I didn't know the answer, I was confident enough to tell you, I don't know the answer to that, but, and we could go on about other things. And that gave me the confidence level, from closing deals, success, but, success and doing the right things to become confident in public speaking and then throwing humor into it and doing all of those things like that. That's what it was for me. And we're like relating it to golf. Like I see guys who are very mechanical golfers. They stand over that ball and they're thinking, okay, take my club head straight back and do this and do that. It's like, just get up there and grip it and rip it. Right. Yeah. And those are the best golfers because they've hit so many balls before game time that they're just ready for it. They're not doing it on the golf course in real time. They did it while practicing. And that's where like the early mornings, the weekends, studying, reading, learning like about what it is that you're doing, mastering your craft, to me is the most important thing. Is because now it's just in our business we don't tee off and it's 4 hours of game time. It's game time 24/7. I mean, it's sales. Everyone needs a house. It's game time 24/7. So for me, it's just really being confident in your industry with yourself, and it was a game changer for me. I mean, you could call me and tell me to stand in front of 600 people and talk, and I don't care if I look stupid. I really don't, because I also realize that when you're nervous, that's when you look stupid. But when you're not nervous, even though you're saying stupid things, it's confident and people respect that, right? So it's it just took time though, and I don't think that happens overnight. And there are some people who are naturally just born with it. They can just get up and they're just really good in front of people and whatever. That was not me. So, but it's a good question. Does it answer your question, Randy?
Yeah, it does. It does. It just really. It's just confidence. Confidence has to permeate. But you're right. I mean, it's game time every day, all day, and you have to show that you're in command of your subject. And again, it comes with time. Not everyone is born with it, but those that are lucky, they're very lucky. It wasn't me, but I always knew that if I commanded my subject and knew my craft, that I was comfortable. But it takes time. You never want to fake it, right? Because you're going to get found. And those that are able to fake it and that aren't discovered probably aren't associating with the people that they need to be with, right? You
Right.
need to be challenged. And the same goes through with everything that we do. The reason we're better is because we're challenged.
Yeah.
And you have to fight for something more. You got to climb that fence. Like I say to my kids, there's no, the stairs. Well, now I screwed it up. I forgot.
Oh my God. Fool me once, fool me.
You
Right.
can stick your head up a butcher's, but you better take the bull's word for it, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a function of success and then work. I mean, you got to work for success. It just doesn't happen any other way. You got to take the stairs.
You got it. Exactly.
I think I'm going to throw out an action item for anybody listening to this now, later, whenever. I agree with everything you guys are talking about. You got to commit to learning. I think what I see is so many people are, I'm so busy, I'm so this, I'm so busy, I'm so this, that. Then wake up 15 minutes earlier or stay up 15 minutes late and study your craft 15 minutes a day. I mean, if you want to get to competence, you need to study to get there. It is a journey. It is a path. It is a road. It doesn't happen overnight. I feel insecure if I don't study every single day, right? And I can feel it. I mean, and so, podcasts, it's never been easier to learn. It's never been easier with YouTube, with everything that's out there. And so I'm going to throw out that challenge to everybody. Put it in your calendar, time block it, and commit to the process of learning. This was great.
It's very, very important. And I know we're wrapping it up here. So, I wanted to take this podcast into a direction of, we can sit here and sell everybody on, I'm the best realtor, and Randy, you're the best attorney, and John, you're the best business coach. And at the end of the day, like, my takeaway from this is I want to move this in a direction where, like, we're normal people that, that grew up in all different, dentists, the grocery store business. I was in, a restaurant, banquet hall business, and now I'm in real estate, something completely different than what I was going, all three of us, something completely different than what our fathers did. And all three of us are in our own right successful in our careers. And the point is we all started somewhere. We all, I wanted people to understand that we weren't born into this. Like, you meet people all the time, like, oh, I get why they're successful. Like, I get why, Prince Fielder's amazing. His dad was amazing, right? Like, that still takes a ton of work. And at the end of the day, people need to understand that with each one of our podcasts that we're going to be doing and our trainings that we're going to be doing, we have a lot of ups and downs that we learn from. And it's for the cost it's going to be on a monthly basis, for the amount of time the commitment it's going to be on your end once a week for an hour, it's priceless. I mean, you're dealing with real people who have mastered their crafts. And I think that, getting to know us, instead of us sitting here and selling what you need to do and how to be organized and all that, we're going to get into all that. But at the end of the day, we're normal people who took our businesses to the next level. And I think that is exactly why you need to get involved in one of our training. So before we leave, I just wanted to make sure everybody got a little taste of who we are. So, if you guys want to add to that before we go, John, Randy, this is something I'm extremely excited about, passionate about, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. And I'm looking forward to meeting with the people who are signing up and learning from them too. So, looking forward to it. But you guys have anything to add? Let us know.
I have one quick thing to add. I concur with everything you just said. We're just people who are taking our stories, our lessons, our experience, and our techniques and teaching and helping other people, and learning and facilitating, discussions with other people in the group to bring out their best practices to help the collective. And so to me, I look at us all as kind of like of service to a group of people that we can help them take their business to the next level, find more happiness, find more revenue, and just find more purpose in what they do. And I can't think of a better group of people to do it with than you guys and Jeff and Rob. And it's great. So I love this episode. Randy?
Yeah, no, this is truly, I mean, Simon, I'm glad you took it into a kind of a freestyle mode. As opposed to something more robotic and rote. This was great because I think we're able to really demonstrate who we are.
Yeah.
One thing that, in addition to, what both of you said, I think summertime's a perfect time to invest in yourself, because summertime, I think for many people, is slower. Maybe sales may not be as brisk. You have more time to go out there, reach your audience, and don't be afraid to do that. But more importantly, invest in yourself. And I think our training programs are going to be just that. For the $100 a month, I can almost promise you, you're going to make 10x on that money.
Yeah.
With any one of us. On any one of us. It's going to be that one item, that one nugget, but take the time and invest in yourself. And sometimes the best time to do it, or at least to start.
And just one thing that too, we guarantee it. You don't like it, we'll give you your money back. This is not about the money. There needs to be an energy exchange of currency, because otherwise you won't get anything out of it, but we guarantee results.
Yeah, and if it was about the money, we'd be charging more. This is not a lot of money. And I think too, what's very important is summertime is busy, and being virtual, you could be up north and get on this for an hour, and now your whole week wasn't, it was productive. Like when I was on vacation or leaving or off, I was never off. I always woke up and still did my 15 to 20 minutes every day in my business that made me feel good to go on the boat for a half a day or whatever. So that's what's cool about what we're doing here, guys. You can get on anywhere and not miss anything and learn while you're enjoying life. So I want to thank you guys. We appreciate it. We're looking forward to you guys. I think 2 more weeks we'll be back on this. But John, thank you for the opportunity. Randy, I always love talking to you and seeing your perspective on things. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you guys. JohnDwoskin.com, group coaching. Thanks, guys. This was awesome.
Thank you.